Paying for it.
Denise Roche.
Sir? Mr. Speaker.
Denise Roche has the call.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my privilege to take a short call on this bill for the Greens. As the House will be aware, we'll be opposing this bill. The reason for it was determined by a financial crisis, which is not happening. It was purely fabricated, and other speakers have actually spoken about there. There is no financial crisis in local government. The level of debt that's frequently referred to was imposed by central government on most local governments, and the ability for councils to be able to find income to augment that infrastructure builds was actually dismantled by this government. So, for example, in Auckland, one of the first things that the national government did when they came into power was to remove the ability for Auckland Regional Council to develop funds through a regional tax rate on petrol. This isn't fair. This isn't a fair bill. This is a bill that the government is pushing through despite the fact that it's deeply unpopular. As referred to before by colleagues on this side of the House, not one single council has actually said they want this to happen. It's been really clear through the process of this bill travelling through the House that this government doesn't understand what local government does. And certainly that was the impression I was getting from Maggie Barry and from other members on that side of the House who think that rates will go down, because they won't. That's not what this bill is about. It's about government getting control of the spoils, if you like. If this government did have an understanding about what local government was about, there would be no way that this government would remove the 4 well-beings out of the Local Government Act, because when you take that out, you rip the heart and the guts and the soul out of local communities. You take it away. What does this mean for Auckland? What it means for Auckland is that, having been through an undemocratic amalgamation, which again this bill wants to force that elsewhere, having been through all that, the work that they were required to do under the legislation that this government passed to force that amalgamation, all that work will be for nothing. This is the Auckland plan, one part of it. It was a requirement of the legislation that Auckland Council would develop a 30-year vision for Auckland City, for those 7 amalgamated councils. It is fantastic. The legislation set timeframes in there. There was a huge amount of work that was done by both councillors, local board members, by the staff who were under incredible pressure. And this is what they delivered, an amazing 30-year plan. The cornerstone of this plan is the 4 well-beings: the cultural, the social, the economic and the environmental well-being of the citizens of Auckland. And it says in the preamble by the Mayor, the gap between those who have and those who don't is growing by the day. This is not the society Aucklanders want, nor does it augur well for the future. The plan contains strategies and actions that address these socio-economic trends. There is particular focus on our children and young people, our parents and leaders of the future. It's visionary stuff. It's amazing stuff. It's the 4 well-beings in action. You take the 4 well-beings away, you take the ability for Auckland Council to deliver on what they've set out to do, what they were actually originally forced to do, but what they've set out to do. And when you do that, you undermine the communities in Auckland. Not only that, we need Auckland to do this. We need the council to do it, because the government isn't doing it. And that's what the rates are paying for. The rates in Auckland and Maggie Barry's electorate are also paying for the forced amalgamation that this government forced onto her electorate. We'll be opposing this bill, not only because of that, but for all the other reasons that have been listed by my colleague Eugenie Stage and the people on this side of the House too. We're also really worried about what this does to local government staff and what it does to good faith bargaining in the sector. Thank you.
Paul Goldsmith.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. It's my pleasure to speak on this, the third reading of the local government bill, which is all about